All right. All right. All right. All right. Does that mean there was no audio the entire time? I think we got some audio now. Silent rants are great. Silent rants are great. Looks like I got some fucking audio now. How's everybody doing? Hopefully that's better and is working. I had just said off the top, this is not Fandom Empire Live. This is just me down here in the studio on a day off. And I kind of wish it wasn't a day off because outside of some wonderful family time early on, you get scrolling social media. And I don't want to say everybody does it because there are people that are anti-social media and don't want to do that shit. But scrolling social media sometimes is a mistake, and you see stuff that's just when you think it can't get any more dumb, it gets more dumb and stupid and pathetic. And yeah, so I didn't feel like this was a conversation I could just turn to Jade and be like, let me rant to you for a bit. I felt like this is something I needed to come on air and talk about. And we've done a couple of these. The channel's definitely not flooded with them. I think I've done 2 or 3 epic rants before this. And I didn't title this an epic rant because I don't think it's going to be as such. It's more of a venting session. Sometimes you just need to get things off your chest. Don't keep them in. Sometimes the worst thing you can do, and I know there's the tough bravado thing. Don't share your feelings with other people. Blah, blah, blah. To me, one of the most unhealthy things you can do is keep something in. Sometimes you have to. There are situations that occur in life that you have to keep it in. But then there's other stuff that at the end of the day, the bottom line doesn't really affect me at all. Jade says it's the airing of grievances. Festivus for the rest of us. I need my Festivus cups down here. No, sometimes you just need to get on and vent, and we have a wonderful community here. And, some of you might find what we're going to talk about, dare I say, a little intellectual. Some of you might just find it downright stupid. But in 2021, fandom is a tricky thing to navigate. When I made the choice to name this network Fandom Empire, that was after Fandom Cantina, we, or at least me personally, wanted to do it because I knew we were going to be talking about Star Wars. I knew we were going to be talking about Halloween and Game of Thrones and horror in general. And I thought fandom being in the name was ideal because it doesn't represent just one fandom, but rather several fandoms. And I still love her name, and I believe it was the right decision to make. And as I can't remember if it was Frank or Toronto Freddy, but one of them basically named us Fandomaniacs. We got a nice little community here, so I'm gonna ask for a little bit of your time early here this afternoon, this evening, whatever you want to classify it as, just to vent. And I think right off the top, it's really important for me to state that the things that I'm about to say could be looked at as controversial to some. You're allowed to not agree with me or to disagree with me. I don't expect everybody in the chat to be like, oh, yeah, Sean, great points, man. You're totally spot on. I don't expect that at all. People, despite what some will have you believe, people can have different opinions without everything, burning down in a blaze of glory. Like me some Bon Jovi. The other thing that's important to say before I dive into this is Ryan says it's late here, bro. 21:30 hours in the UK. 5:30 here on the East Coast, just outside Toronto, Ontario, Canada, Ryan. is my views and points that I'm about to make are my own alone and don't reflect the way that everybody else that's at Fandom Empire, whether they're chat mods like Frank and Toronto Freddy, or whether it's Jade or Johnny or Kieran or Tommy or anybody else that's involved in the channel on any level. My views and opinions that I'm about to express are mine alone. Now, could some of those share the way that I feel? Yeah, for sure. But that doesn't necessarily mean that they're right or they're wrong. Just like it doesn't mean that I'm right or I'm wrong. So let's dive into this. Take a drink first. You know, God knows people love or hate when I take a drink on air. Maybe I'll make slurpy sounds. Art Wishwood says, Sean, even if I hate you, I'll always love your hair, man. LOL. I didn't know Art hated me. This is terrible news. I feel like my whole world just blew up. John says, oh no, don't tell me you've grown to love Halloween Resurrection. No, I haven't. That's not likely to happen. However, I'm going to touch on Halloween Resurrection at the end of this. It's something that we actually have something in store for Halloween Resurrection in the next couple of months. So Art says Kieran needs to wrestle. Kieran's already done that. Kieran's a certified badass. Might not look like it with his whatever the hell he was wearing here last night, but he's a certified badass. Make no mistake. Anyways, let's dive into this. Look, as you know, recently on the channel, we ended the Fandom Empire Star Wars show that was previously known as the Imperial Remnant broadcast. And it ended for a few reasons. One, it's a pretty dead time in Star Wars right now. I realize it's about to be April, which means May's right around the corner, and you got the Bad Batch coming and so many other things coming. And I'm going to touch on Halloween fandom right after the Star Wars fandom, guys. So, yeah, it was a pretty dead time, and we were struggling a little bit for material because I still do the podcast, which you see here on the YouTube channel, with Ian. It's just been on hiatus because he had some issues with a move that he was going through. So, Across the Stars, a Star Wars pod is still in existence. We're still going to do some shows. We have one coming up this Friday night at 10 o'clock Eastern. Looking forward to that. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to do a watch-along of the making of the Phantom Menace, which is about an hour long. So it's going to be fun. Look, the Star Wars fandom is about as toxic as it fucking gets. You know, a movie came out in 2017 titled The Last Jedi. And there was already toxicity in the Star Wars fandom. There's toxicity in every fandom. When the prequels came out, those that loved the original trilogy, or at least a lot of people, shit all over them because it wasn't the OT. It was something new. It was something different. But never have we seen anything like what happened with Star Wars The Last Jedi. And I have no problem saying I can't stand that film. I think it's a pathetic piece of trash. That said, you know, for the 40 people that are here watching right now, if 38 of you think it's amazing, you are absolutely entitled to that opinion, and I'm happy for you, and I envy you, and it's just not how I feel. So it's subjective to me and how I feel, this rant. But anyways, that divided the fandom. Whether anybody wants to admit it or not, that divided the fandom. Yeah, Solo had issues, had to basically use twice the budget. But the fandom, the Star Wars fandom, was burnt out after The Last Jedi. That was the primary reason for Solo being a failure. That and releasing a movie, 5 months after the last one? Probably not great. Dude says Last Jedi deserved the hate. Subjective, man. Like I said, some people love it. I would agree with you, but, you know, there's a bunch of other people that might not agree with us, and that's fine. And then, you know, The Rise of Skywalker came out, and me, like several others at first, was like, yeah! Rise of Skywalker, way to give the middle finger to The Last Jedi. And then the recency bias wears off, and you realize when you put all three movies together, it's kind of a dumpster fire. And I really like The Force Awakens. But it's not a very good trilogy. And just not well thought out. They've proven that. Yeah. So then things were divisive again. Frank says, I wouldn't care if Star Wars ended for good. Frank, I never would have felt that way 4 or 5 years ago. But if someone told me, hey, after the Book of Boba Fett, the next season of Mandalorian, and Obi-Wan, the Obi-Wan show, if that was it, and Star Wars was ending for good, I'm with you, Frank. I would be fine. You'll notice that, sorry, the poster's a little crooked because it's not hung up on the wall right now, but I have Halloween. Very little Star Wars stuff down here anymore. There is. It's a little off camera. But anyway, then The Mandalorian came out, and it won a bunch of people over, and is it the greatest thing ever created? No, of course not. But The Mandalorian came out and it won some people over. Then The Mandalorian Season 2 came out. Actually, to go one step back, Clone Wars Season 7 came out. Then The Mandalorian Season 2 came out. And everybody was happy again. You know, people loved it. And then something happened. It was almost like The Last Jedi Part 2 happened. And not the movie, but like the reaction. The stuff went down with Gina Carano. I don't know Gina Carano. I've never spoken with Gina Carano. I certainly don't agree with a lot of her points of view. But trolls will be trolls, and the internet will be the internet. And, you know, there's someone that was on this channel who on air said Gina Carano is an absolute shit human being on one of our shows. And they're entitled to that opinion. But to me, that's making it personal. Because that person had no fucking... They don't know Gina Carano. They don't. You don't have to like what she posts on social media, and she said some stupid shit. But does that mean she's a shit human being that deserves to be hit by a bus? No. Fuck no. That's just immature shit. And, so yeah, like... It seems like the fandom nowadays, specifically when it comes to the Star Wars fandom, can't, they don't seem to understand that Luke Skywalker, Han Solo, Darth Vader, Shaq T, whoever you want to, call out in the Star Wars universe, are fictional characters. They're not real. They can be based off of certain mythology. But at the end of the day, they're not real. They're not talking to you the way that I'm talking to you. And there seems to be an inability to separate whether it's an actor or an actress or a director or a producer. There is an inability to separate the character that they play on screen from the person they are in real life. And this isn't news. This has been going on for decades. You don't have to like a person in real life to enjoy the character that they portray on screen. You don't. You might not like the character they portray on screen because of choices they make in real life, but that's their choice to make. It's not yours. So, there's this... just go out there. One of the famous things that's going on right now is you had Pablo Hidalgo call out Star Wars Theory. Anybody that doesn't know Star Wars Theory, he is the biggest Star Wars channel on YouTube. He's a fellow Canadian. I have literally only had one very brief exchange with him. That's it. One. I don't know him. He doesn't know me. And our exchange actually was, we touched on Star Wars. It was a brief conversation about cancer because we've both had it. And he's an easy target because the guy has 3 million subscribers. We have our channel, which is just over 2,700, and this guy over there has 3 million. This guy goes on and plays a video game for 2 hours and makes $1,000. That's not an exaggeration. That's probably aiming low, to be honest. So naturally, you have a bunch of jealous fucking pricks out there that don't like the fact that local Canadian kid, or it wouldn't matter if he's from Canada or Japan or Russia or the United States of America, they get jealous because this guy has built a community and has a following, and they hate the fact that, to be quite honest, he probably makes more money than they do. Does it come down to money? I can't speak for him, but, he's clearing 6 figures a year doing YouTube. 6 figures, So, good for him. But that doesn't give a reason to, hate the guy personally. He's out there doing what he does. I love this. I wish Frank was available right now to have on here because we could have such a great discussion on his point here. Frank says, in my opinion, some Star Wars fans have ruined the franchise by loving anything with the Star Wars brand on it. Oh my God. Let's give some love to that. Look. We used to have a saying back at our old Star Wars podcast, the Star Wars Wastelands podcast, where we would, there was a much bigger, I'll be honest, I'll be blunt, and it could piss off some of the other people on our staff because there's still some that are friendly with those guys over there, and I'm sort of friendly with 1 or 2 of them. But like the Star Wars Underworld guys, you take a guy like Dominic Jones and super talented local Canadian kid, went to school for this stuff, is the primary voice of the Star Wars Underworld, although has no ownership in it. And he can be openly critical about things, but he can also praise things. But that group in general, whether it's the Star Wars Underworld, or a guy like Jordan Mason, or a guy like Steele Saunders, you might know him as Steel Wars, they gotta give gold stars to everything, and it's their channels, their podcasts, that's fine. But it's everything gets a gold fucking star. Even if something is not good, and that can be subjective and more times than not, it's, hey, you get a gold star, you get a gold star, you get a gold star. How about 10 gold stars for you over there? And it's terrible nonsense because it sets unrealistic expectations. And then some of those same individuals, I'll be honest, Steele Saunders is a fucking dick. I got no problem saying it. This is why I'm doing this alone right now, because I don't want this being held on anybody else on the Fandom Empire staff. This is how I feel. Steele Saunders is a fucking dick. End of story. If you have a different opinion than this guy will proceed to be a keyboard warrior, call you out, and make it personal. He claims not to, but he does. And he's never really made it personal to me. I just sort of sit back and watch it happen. And then watch his followers, which is something like 10,000, 12,000, line his pockets up with money. And it's in 2021, it's you're crucified for having a different opinion than someone else. If the next person that sits in this chair right here decides that they love Rob Zombie's Halloween, good for them. Awesome. I don't like the Rob Zombie Halloween movies at all, even though 2 is a bit of a guilty pleasure. But that's their choice. And that's fine. That's okay. But the second that person who loves Rob Zombie's Halloween says I should go get hit by a bus, or they're going to fuck my children, or go kill someone because they have a different opinion than you, that is a dog shit human being. And I have no problem calling people out on that. I don't. We got a guy like Kieran here on the show. He's not here today. I'm pointing to him as if he is. And he might be listening right now. I have no idea if he is or not. Super positive dude. Absolutely positive. Him and I agree on almost nothing Star Wars, which is fine. But a super positive dude who would never turn and make it personal just because you have a different opinion than him. But you get these guys with, dare I say, clout, guys and girls alike, at places like the Star Wars Underworld or Jordan Mason or Steel Saunders, aka Steel Wars, because they have followings of 100,000 people or a few thousand people. Jordan Mason has about the same following we do in terms of numbers. That they think, oh, well, I'm going to go out there and tweet this, and because I have these people that look up to me and will literally sit on every word I say, I'm going to go ahead and attack someone because, hey, I'm going to get a bunch of these on Twitter, and that's okay. And the situation I'm addressing today, and this is one of them, and it's very minor too, is Star Wars Theory tweets out that in the Obi-Wan show, he would like to see Anakin during Order 66 in a flashback doing the Temple Purge, killing Jedi Padawans. He said Jedi Padawans, not younglings. They're two different things. And immediate uproar about it. Immediate uproar from guys like the Star Wars Underworld who think they're clever. And I used to get along with those guys fine. And for the most part, I have a lot of respect for a couple of people over there. I don't have any respect for the guy that owns it. He's one toxic piece of shit. Same goes for Channel 1138. They can kiss my fat white ass. Anyways, Star Wars Theory wanted to see the Temple Purge that we didn't really get to see in Revenge of the Sith. And there's already been some concept art that has leaked out from the Kenobi show that shows that they might show it. Now, hey, I got a book over there from The Mandalorian Season 1 that has a bunch of concept art. Jade got it for me for a Christmas present. Just because there's concept of art doesn't mean it's going to happen. So will we see Anakin in the temple killing people? Maybe, maybe not. But immediately you get fuckers like Steel Wars. I hope someone in the chat right now who doesn't like us goes and links this to him on Twitter. You get fuckers like him or the Star Wars Underworld guys who will go and like that shit but don't have the balls to actually put it out there. Or a guy like Jordan Mason who twist and turn it as if the Star Wars Theory guy, which I don't even know his real name. I don't. I know him as Theory like everybody else does, wants to see Anakin kill a bunch of young children. He wants to see Anakin slicing and dicing young children on screen because he can't wait to see young kids die on screen. Do you see what happened there? They took what he said about wanting to see Anakin in the Temple Purge killing Jedi Masters, Jedi Knights, and Jedi Padawans, and twisted it into some sick and twisted, he wants to see a bunch of kids get their heads cut off. And then immediately all their followers get in behind him on the train, and they start fucking going after Theory and quoting his tweets and spinning it. And I finally reached out to Jordan Mason because I know if I reach out to fucking Steel Wars or a guy like Chris Sequel at the Underworld, it's going to go fucking nowhere. It's going to go in one ear and out the other ear. But Mason I actually had some respect for as a reporter. And he's like, I basically said to him, hey, you're taking what he's saying completely out of context. Like, completely out of context. Don't paint him as this guy that gets off on wanting to see children die. That's fucked up. That's how you push a narrative and turn people on other people, and then you get jackasses like the people that were threatening us on the channel for not giving them exactly what they wanted. You know? So, oops, I just knocked something down. Sorry, I just grabbed my phone for a second, guys. Anyway, I really do believe that there's some pretty fucked up shit that's going on out there right now. And even a guy like Jordan Mason, who has done a lot of Star Wars stuff in the past, has insider knowledge, found a way to spin it as if Star Wars Theory wanted to see a bunch of kids get murdered on screen. Again, I should remind everybody, these are fictional fucking characters. It's a movie or a TV show or a video game or a comic, depending on what you're talking about. But let's take that and find a way to go after a guy who has raised hundreds of thousands of dollars for hospitals in Canada. You know? I don't, like, maybe those other guys have raised a bunch of money for charity too, but not that I know of. And it's disgusting because he literally, if you go and look at my tweets and mentions, or Fandom Empire's tweets and mentions, it was me. It was nobody else on the account. It was me. He tries to spin it as if like, oh no, he meant younglings and only younglings, and then I'm like, well, dude, you might want to check your history because it's no different than what happens in the Force Unleashed. It's no different than what happens in the Knights of the Old Republic games, or even the Revenge of the Sith video games. You literally do the Temple Purge in the Revenge of the Sith video games. In Knights of the Old Republic, you can literally rob people and kill homeless people. And in the Force Unleashed, you massacre Wookiees and Ewoks. At the end of the day, it's very it's pretty fucked up and pathetic. And I know there are people in this chat right now that love guys like Steel Wars and the Star Wars Underworld and Jordan Mason, and honestly, they're all fucking trash, at least from my point of view. The second you take a fandom opinion and make it personal and you use it to attack those individuals, it's no longer fandom. You're just a fucking keyboard warrior bully who wants to inflict mental health damage on others. And it's really fucked up. And it's jealousy, too. You know? It absolutely is jealousy. Until Wild says alive. Yes, it is alive. And I don't get it. Because, like, I don't know if it's just people want to do the popular thing and they want clicks or they want money or, you know. I don't know. But I do know that once upon a time, the Star Wars Underworld used to be a really fun podcast to listen to. Followed them all the way through The Force Awakens. Kenny and others in the chat know we worked alongside them. And it's just, to be honest, it's a fucking cesspool right now. And then a place like fucking Too Old for This podcast run by a fucking adultery committing piece of shit like Jeremy Dove. You know? There's a... people love posting. I thought about doing a post on this on Twitter, and I decided not to. I'd rather come on here and talk to you guys. But people love posting, hey, this is the podcast list I'm listening to. And all I thought to myself is, you know what? I should go on there and create a podcast list or a YouTube list of people you should not listen to. But at the end of the day, it's not my choice. Each and every one of you, I'm just saying the names I can see in the chat right now, John and Brad and Kenny and Intel, all of you get to choose for yourselves who you listen to, who you watch, and who you spend your valuable time. Because the last time I checked, when our time runs up, that's it. So choose how you spend your time wisely. It's why you hear guys like Kieran and I and Tommy say how much we appreciate the following we have. Could we have 10,000 subscribers right now? Yeah, we could have if we pandered to people the way those guys do. And we don't. We try to give you guys your bang for the buck, whether it's through Patreon or the people that super chat the channel. It really is appreciated. I've said tons of times, if the super chat money was to dry up or the Patreon money was to dry up, we wouldn't be able to do this as much. We'd still do it, though, as a hobby, but we wouldn't be operating it like a side business like we are now. Intel wants to know why I have to say his name last. Because you're a Lakers fan. Boo! Actually, fun little sports talk here for you, Intel. Apparently your Lakers are hard after Kyle Lowry. Whether that happens or not, who knows, but I know the Raptors won a lot. Anyways, the Star Wars fandom is shit. And I never thought I would agree with what Frank said earlier. A few years ago, I wouldn't be caught dead agreeing with it. But, like, if Star Wars just ends, I'm okay with it now. Because I think about my oldest son, who is just getting into that age where he's going to be all over social media. And I think about my youngest son, who is, still in diapers, 14 months old. And I think, do I want them to be a part of that fandom? And what's going on there? And the answer is no. I don't want to see my kid going on Twitter making fun of a guy because he had cancer, telling him he wishes they would have died, all because they have a different Star Wars opinion than them. You know? It's fucked up, but that's the way it works, sadly. It really does piss me off. And I hate it for a guy like Zach, who's still over, not my son Zach, but Zach Arnold, who's on Fandom News Now. He's still over Channel 1138 for these guys, so you're never going to catch him on here, saying what I'm saying, and he might even take offense to some of this because I'm talking about someone he podcasts with. Ben Hart, I used to love to death. I think deep down he's one of the kindest human beings out there, but he fell into the trap of, let's hate something because it's positive. And for the record, in case anyone's out there sitting there, it's easy to say this when they're not on. If Sequel wants to come on here, if Jones wants to come on here, if Ben Hart wants to come on here, Steel Wars wants to come on here, Jordan Mason wants to come on here, I'll fucking sit right here and I'll fucking hash it out with them. You'll see a chat that's huge. Their following will come in there. They'll back them no matter what they say. And I never want a following like that. I don't want a bunch of sheep following at Fandom Empire. If you're a sheep, get the fuck out. I want people that can think for themselves and make their own choices. But if you don't think there are sheep in this world that hang on every word someone says, there is. And a lot of them you can find over at those places that I just mentioned. Because if you can take a fandom-related thing and twist it into death threats, blackmail, hate, it just goes to show. And Star Wars, I truly, truly believe, is one of, if not the most toxic fandom right now. Intel Wild says, I was going to send a $20, but because of the cheap shot about my Lakers, here's a $10 one. Do we get the other $10 if I say something along the lines of, God, I wish my hockey team, the Toronto Maple Leafs, were 1/10 as successful as the Lakers have been for the last 30 years. Because I do. That's a jealousy thing. That's a sports thing. I love my Leafs, but no results. I might not like the Lakers, but you can't argue. All different ways, all different eras have constantly put up results and won. Where are we here? We're going to do some Q&A too, by the way. Frank Riker says, Star Wars is a forced, spoon-fed, and already overweight child. Yeah. I mean, I'm an overweight. Well, maybe I'm not a child. It sort of gives that away. But it's frustrating because I love Star Wars. I mean, I got my Kieran lookalike Luke Skywalker Funko Pop sitting right here in my supernatural shot glass. I love Star Wars. I'll always love Star Wars. But I don't love the fandom right now. I don't love the fact that it's really easy to be a keyboard warrior. And I'm not saying that to be like, oh, hey, if you said it to my face, I'm going to knock you out. It's nothing like that at all. That's not how I operate. 15 years ago, that's how I operated when I was a fucking teenager. 32-year-old man, that's not how I operate. It just isn't. As much as some of those guys probably deserve to be punched in the face. It's sad because honestly, guys, and I'm going to wrap up the Star Wars and we're going to move on to Halloween. We'll do some Q&A. It's been a fun little stream here. Appreciate you guys for tuning in and allowing me to whine, moan, and bitch to vent to you guys and rant. T. Parker Evans says, I feel some of Halloween fandom can be just as toxic. I don't know about just as toxic, but we're going to talk about the Halloween fandom in a second. Frank's in here. I haven't seen Frank in a while, not Frank Riker, but Frank, I can never pronounce your last name properly, man. Matt Whitfield says, sends a $5 super chat in, says, why you got to be hating on the Lakers? Geez, well, because eventually I got to hate on someone other than your Packers, because, God, their jerseys are hideous. But, yeah. Look, I love Star Wars. Fandom Empire would not exist today without the Star Wars Wastelands podcast. A podcast that myself and Johnny and Mondo, who most of you probably don't know, worked very hard for years on. Tommy B ended up joining the crew. And without Star Wars Wastelands and without Channel 1138, yes, that same channel that's owned by Chris Sequel, the head of the Star Wars Underworld, we would not be here today. So as much as I might not like that guy and what he stands for and just the fake fucking front he puts out there, without them, we wouldn't be here. They gave us a start and would not have the confidence to do something like this. And for that, I'll always be appreciative of. But I also think the best decision we ever made was leaving their ass. Absolutely. So, if anybody has anything Star Wars they want to say, save it for the Q&A. We'll get to the Q&A. This has already gone on longer than I expected. I don't have Jade calling me to do anything right this second. So, not like that. Get your head out of the gutter. Sorry. Anyway, let's talk about Halloween fandom. Because as you've seen in the thumbnail, we had Vader representing the Star Wars fandom. Let's talk about Halloween fandom. Let's talk about what just occurred on this channel recently, and you see it happen once in a while. And this is, I'm not going to say it's the last time I'm ever going to bring these idiots up, because sometimes they need to be brought up, but I've been able to get to a point where it doesn't bother me as much anymore. But there's some people in the Halloween fandom that don't have their head screwed on straight. Frank says it's pronounced Chronogu? Is that right? Oh, no. Okay, so Chrono. What was that song she did? The na 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 na, something like that. I don't know. Came out in the early 2000s. I think it's called like "Can't Get You Out of My Head" or something. Kylie Minogue. Wow. All right, so let's talk a little bit about the Halloween fandom. I want to start with this group of individuals. And that is the entitled bunch who think that no matter what, they're entitled to see Halloween Kills last year or right now, or Halloween Ends whenever. It honestly, it surprises me how many people that still believe, and I've heard Dave talk about this over on his channel. DMT says, "Can't get you out of my head. Something, 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 something. All I think about." I don't know. I'm not a singer if you can't tell. But it's a catchy song. Frank says Kylie is great. If she's dead, I don't know about it. I hope she's not dead. But if she's dead, that flew over my head. Look. Yeah, does it suck that we're sitting here March 24th, 2021, and we haven't seen Halloween Kills yet? Yeah, of course it sucks. We all wanted to see the movie last year. We should be gearing up to see Halloween Ends this year. But sometimes in life, things happen. Jade says, no, she's not dead, but she's 52. Look at that. Jade. Fact checker Jade. Apologies here. I gotta check this for a second. Anyway, you're not entitled to see the fucking movie, okay? You didn't put money into the movie. You know, maybe you own some stock. I'm not dancing. It's not happening, Art. You would have to send in one hell of a super chat. Might have to contact an Intel Wild or a Matt Whitfield or a Mitch to really line up the pocketbooks to get me dancing. But what I don't understand is, like, and I'm sorry if anybody in the chat feels this way, is you got to understand that things are a business. Some things are hobbies, some things are businesses. Universal, Blumhouse, Trancas, the Halloween franchise in general is a business. Yes, it's fandom. But how many times has somebody in this chat gone out and bought 7 different fucking steel books for Halloween? You know, I would hate to admit how many different versions of Star Wars movies I have that are basically the same, but I got conned into buying them anyway. Frank Riker sends in a $5 super chat. I would never would have thought that the new Star Wars series would make me hate the originals. But go Yankees, best MLB team ever. Oh my God. Oh, Frank, I hate the fucking Yankees. But you know what the Yankees do? They put their money where their mouth is. Yankees want to win. They go out and they you can't buy a championship, but you can certainly buy talent to win you a championship. And I wish my Jades that are owned by a multi-billion-dollar corporation thought more like that. And yeah, I know they signed fucking oh my God, why can't I think of his name? Astro center fielder. Somebody help me out here. There's got to be a baseball fan. George Springer. They gave George Springer 150 million big ones. But they didn't spend any more money. Not really, anyway. They didn't supplement that talent. So, oh no! Bo's a Sox fan. Wait, what Sox? White Sox or Red Sox? T. Parker Evans says, people who think Blumhouse owes them for not releasing Halloween Kills last year live in their own reality and don't know how the film industry works. You, sir, get the horns. That's right. Got the horns out there. Look, Brad's got to go. Brad, thanks for coming by, man. I know it's late where you are, dude. Hopefully you check out the rest of it later. Going to go for a little while longer here. It kills me because, like, yeah, I've read the script. That is one of them right there, and that is another one. And a lot of people have read the script. And that's fine. When something leaks, it's fair game, really. But, like, they don't owe you. They don't. Look, I want to see Halloween Kills more than anything. And Frank made a fantastic point last night when he said, and I quote, Mr. Riker said that hot tubs for life. No, he didn't say that. He said that Universal has yet to release a movie in theaters and on premium video on demand at the exact same time. They're still doing that. I think it's a 17-day window, basically 2 weeks. And look, there's a clogged fall movie schedule. One of these streams, I'm going to do my homework. I'm going to come on here with a fucking list, and we're going to talk about everything that's coming out from September through November, even December, because it's ridiculous. There has never been a movie season as bloated as this one's going to be. And Johnny, who pointed out last night, also said that don't be surprised if some of these movies move dates. Movies don't like being too close to other movies that could impact their earnings under normal circumstances, where theaters are open at 100% capacity and business is booming. They're really not going to like that during COVID times. Kevin Dustin says, Dave McCrae said not too long ago that if more fans could actually understand the business side of the industry, the less confused they'll be from decisions that are made. No more truer words are spoken. Kevin, spot on. Spot on. Looking forward to having Dave on either next week or the week after. Dude wants to know, Sean, did I like the Kills screenplay? Yeah, I think it's fantastic. I've talked about it at length on the channel. I think it has the potential to be one of the best Halloween movies ever made. That said, just because you read something and it's good doesn't mean that it translates on screen the same way. There's some really great scripts out there that don't have nearly as good of movies, and vice versa. You know, it doesn't mean they always line up. You know, that's David Gordon Green's job to make sure it lines up. But yeah, no, the entitlement. I don't know about the rest of you guys and gals out there, but this idea that we're entitled to have something on a certain date or during a certain year or during a certain time drives me up the fucking wall. It kills me. And I get it that, like Kevin pointed out earlier, some of these people just simply don't understand the movie industry. But there are some people that watch channels like ours, a channel like Dave's, a channel like We Watched a Movie, Channel like Nick Push or Braden Timmons, Lee McCoy, even those guys, Drum Dums more specifically, those guys know their shit and they know how it works. And yet some people, even though they get educated on how the industry works, still decide that they're entitled to see this on a given date. And it's just not how it fucking works. It's not like you gave Blumhouse $5 million of your own money to go make the movie so you'd be guaranteed to see it at a certain time. Again, I understand being impatient, because if you ask my fiance upstairs right now, she will tell you I'm one of the most impatient people she's ever met. Patience is not a strong suit. It just really, honest to God, is not. And I work on it, and I get it. And even now, I can't wait till October. But does that mean like it's going to be the only thing that I obsess about between now and October? No. And I do think that's where part of the problem lies. I think one of the biggest issues is people, and this is not a shot at them, by the way. I would never personally attack someone like this. But if it's like the most important thing in their life that they're looking forward to, and it keeps getting delayed, yeah, that's going to have an impact on their mental health, because it's the biggest thing going on for them. But just know, if you're one of those individuals, there are other things out there that you can enjoy your time with, whether it's family or friends. And if you don't have much of them, you got this channel. We got so much good shit coming on this channel. Whether some people think that way or not remains to be seen. But we have a lot of fun stuff coming. Like, for example, this weekend, I haven't talked to Frank or Darren. I probably should get up my ass on doing that. This weekend, tentatively anyways, for Sunday, we're supposed to do a watch-along of Falling Down. An absolutely incredible flick. A classic. Friggin' Michael Douglas is just absolutely brilliant in it. Absolutely brilliant. And so we got that coming. We got a lot of stuff coming. But yeah, no, find some way to fill in the gap. Like when I was a teenager and I had to wait for specifically Star Wars Revenge of the Sith, Episode 3 after Episode 2. When Episode 2 came out, I would have been 14 years old. The first year and a half of that wait was fucking terrible, because it was like the number one thing I was excited for. Yeah, I had sports and stuff that I'd play with my friends. And then eventually I got a girlfriend, and, you stop thinking about those things and you got other things going on. But you got to find something else to occupy your time with. Don't make it the center of the universe, because there's still a chance this movie could be backed up. There absolutely is. They don't owe you anything. They got to make the best business decision they can. And at the end of the day, as much as we might not like that, it's the way the industry works. They're not going to be like, oh, so we're just going to release it even if we lose a bunch of money. That's not how it works, guys. It just isn't. So yeah, there you have it on the Halloween fandom. Other than that, I don't have too much to say about the Halloween fandom, because I think that they handle things way better than the Star Wars fandom. I don't think it's close. I understand that there's still toxicity in it. There's toxic shit in all fandoms. It's a matter of how it's handled. But Star Wars right now is just basically unbearable. Chad says, "What's up with Tiff? I must have missed the update episode." Got some weird feedback coming on here. 1 second, guys. Testing. 1, 2, 1, 2. There we go. The update with Tiff is this. It's probably not happening, man. The vaccine rollout in Canada has been a complete and utter joke. And basically, I was given word to not expect it to happen. That could change. September is a long way away. But to do an event at TIFF, publicly, a lot would have to change. Not by September, but by May, June at the latest, but probably May. So, John, we got some Mortal Kombat stuff being talked about, Godzilla and Kong stuff being talked about. So yeah, sorry, I've got some interference going on. I don't know what it's from, guys. Can anybody else hear that? I know I can hear it. Oh, okay. So, man, this is really bothering me. It's just on my end. Apologies. 1 second. Try that. Nope, that's not working any better either. All right, so I'm just going to have to go through this. Let's get to some Q&A. Let's talk Q&A, whatever you guys want to talk about for the next, 6:17? We'll go 13 minutes. Anything you guys want to talk about, the floor is yours. Go ahead, and then at the very end, I'm going to advertise some really cool stuff. Aaron says, can't hear any interface. All is good, Jade says. Must be me. Might be going nuts. It's finally happened. I'm going crazy. So let's do some Q&A. Whatever you guys want to talk about, Halloween, Halloween Kills, Halloween Ends, Star Wars, Fandom, Fandom Empire, horror movies in general. Let's talk. The floor is yours. If you want to support the channel on a financial level, we strongly encourage it. You can send in a super chat and support the channel on that level. If you want to talk about any of the shows that are going on the channel, that's fine. We're going to give you a little bit of a tease on some events we have coming up. And yeah, but other than that, the floor is yours for the next 13 minutes or so. And it doesn't have to be a super chat to happen soon. So, anyway. I knew it wouldn't take long for the idiots to show up, but it's all good. What do we got here? Art says he can't hear anything but my silky smooth voice. I don't think I have a silky smooth voice, Art. I think it's more raspy than anything. Some days it's raspy, and then other days it's squeaky like this. Kevin Dustin wants to know, is Haddonfield Advantage just still happening? Yes, it's absolutely still happening. In fact, plugged into the computer right here, let me unplug it, is the wonderful camera we shot on. So it's still happening. Sadly, we are forced to follow restrictions up here. We rented a mansion in November last year, where we shot about 40% of the film. Realistically, we wanted to shoot 60-70%. Didn't happen. And right now, that facility is not even up for rent. And the owners of it have decided that they're not going to rent the facility out until Canada is in a better spot in terms of the vaccine, which means Haddonfield Advantage is likely delayed until 2022. That doesn't mean you're not going to get anything, though, because as we revealed, Haddonfield Advantage is actually one part in a trilogy. There's a found footage movie we're going to shoot hopefully in May or June. It's a short movie, so it's not going to be anything long. You're going to be looking at 10-15 minutes. It's called The Haddonfield Slayer, and it happens before Haddonfield Vanished. And not only will we film most of that after... we filmed 40% of the movie at the mansion. We've had a few other filming days for Haddonfield Vanished. So that's about 50% in the tank. So yeah, you'll end up seeing the Haddonfield Slayer, though, before you see Haddonfield Vanished, just because of location lockdowns. Like, I'm not taking a shot at Braden Timmons, who I think is a super talented dude who is doing a wonderful thing with what he's got going on over there with the Haddonfield Nightmare, which is a sequel to Halloween H2O. But those guys are doing multiple Indiegogo campaigns, and I'm not willing to do that. Not only did we get ripped off thousands of dollars from Indiegogo, and I was warned about that stuff beforehand, but I didn't listen. The process was not fun. And, well, I shouldn't say we got ripped off. They just returned the money to people, and it's up to those people whether they want to give it back or not. And so far, it hasn't been, we haven't been too lucky with that stuff. That said, that happens. It's a pandemic. We understand. So it's still happening. We would never screw anybody over like that. We're still super excited. And I think we're going to be very transparent with how we film the We're going to be very transparent about how we film the Haddonfield Slayer. To the point where you will probably get to watch some of that being filmed live. It'll all depend on connections and whatnot, but yeah. Jade says, Kenny sent in a question. Let's see. Where's Kenny's question? I'm looking. Quick question, Sean. Smallville rewatch. I'm up to the first half of season 8. I love Smallville, but to be honest, season 7 and 8 week season had to do with the writer's strike in 2008. I remember season 7 is shorter, Kenny, because of the writer's strike, which sucks because that's basically Lex's last season minus they find a way to work him into season 8. I just think it's very clear after Smallville passes season 5, and you even see the change happen in season 5, is it's not really a Smallville show anymore. It's more a Metropolis or a Clark Kent show than it is a Smallville show. So I don't think any of those later seasons are as good. I just literally wrapped up season 5 today. Jade and I watched the season finale. So yeah. Max Raid says, it's me beat Billy trailer in 2 days. Can't wait to see what it's like. Yeah, again, I can't say too much in regard to that other than I hope you guys enjoy it. Man, I don't even know. Frank, fuck, God, I don't know what I can say and can't say, and I don't have Dave on speed dial to be like, hey, what can I say and what can I not say? So obviously doesn't want anybody saying anything. But yeah, it should be no... I don't think this is cross the line. It should be no big shock that that Dave uses screeners to bounce off of people when it comes to It's Me, Billy. He's mentioned that before. He was on this channel and mentioned it with the micro teaser. And yeah, so I was lucky enough to be one of those people and very thankful for it. I think everybody's going to like what they see. And we're trying our hardest to get Dave and Bruce on at the same time, hopefully in the next 2 weeks. If not, not that we'd be settling for Dave. We'll do something with Dave. And so, yeah, we got a lot coming. Where do we go here? Sorry, I know you guys sent in a bunch of questions. I'm trying to keep up with everything. We are going to go for about 7 or 8 more minutes, so now's the time. Dean says, have you heard that Halloween Ends might finally start filming at the end of 2021 or early 2022? I've heard rumors that September was a possibility for Halloween Ends. And when I reached out about that, it was emphatically denied. So maybe it shoots in September. Maybe we're given misinformation. Happens once in a while. Not often. But my guess is it doesn't film till early next year. And I do know one of the issues they're battling right now is not only will they not film during the pandemic because it costs more and Blumhouse is all about keeping money down. There's scheduling issues. You know, some of these performers have had other jobs lined up, and that becomes an issue because everything keeps getting pushed back. So I still think Halloween Ends coming out in 2023 is an extremely real possibility. Like, to the point right now, I'd say it's probably, if I had to put a percentage on it, I'd say it's 55% that Halloween Ends comes out in 2023 and not 2022. And I'm all for that. I actually kind of hope that happens because if you rush something, it usually doesn't go well. It just doesn't. John says, have you seen that image where it looks like Michael is smiling through the bathroom stall in H18? I think it's a coincidental shot, but creepy. John, I don't know if I have. You know what you should do, man, is hit me up on Facebook. Or if I have, I don't know exactly which one you're referring to. Hit me up on Facebook or post it on Patreon because I know you're on there too. Pete says, when do you think a new Friday the 13th film will be released in theaters? Well, there's a lot of people that would love a new Friday the 13th film released in theaters, but as long as Cunningham and the other guy, I can't remember his name, keep at it, it's not likely to happen. So one day, I have no doubt we will see either a new Friday the 13th movie or a new Jason movie that maybe isn't titled Friday the 13th. I have no doubt that they'll come back at some point, but right now it seems like there's no end in sight for that, which is really unfortunate because basically it cost us a really good game. And honestly, I know everybody rushed out and bought the big pack they did, but between the collection they did, between the missing material that wasn't on it that was promised, and just the shit that they're doing with that, it made me not want to sink my own money into it, so I didn't. And we could have done an unboxing on the channel. Johnny and I talked about doing it. Probably would have made some super chat money and some ad revenue chat money off of it. But at the end of the day, I just didn't feel like it was worth giving my money to. Although we are going to talk about Friday the 13th right before we go off air here. Frank says, soundtrack, Sean, what is your favorite soundtrack from all the Halloween films? Believe it or not, it's Halloween 2018, man. I don't have it yet. I want to get the special edition on vinyl and hang it up on the wall. It's such a good soundtrack. Carpenter and his son, and the other guy, his son's buddy there, bandmate, just killed it. Absolutely killed it. Loved it. Could listen to it over and over and over again. Frank Riker says, I think if we had no 40-year-old virgins, then there would be no news updates on movies or obsessed fans. Chad says, again, sorry if I missed this and it's repetitive. When do you expect Halloween Kills marketing campaign to really kick off? It's in flux, man, and it's not, everybody will point to, well, this is what the industry usually does. If you follow the way the industry works and understand it, then you should know when to expect it. But all that's out the fucking window because of what's going on with the pandemic. If you didn't tune in last night, I basically said I do not expect to see a trailer until June or July, maybe even August. That late. Because they're not going to release any of that stuff and start to sink a bunch of money into it till they know for certain, for absolute certain, that movie's going to come out this year. Art says, Sean, if you had to give up watching 2 out of the 3 of the following forever, which would you choose? Halloween series, Supernatural series, Star Wars series? I would give up Halloween and Star Wars because there's way more Supernatural to watch. That's how I feel, and I love Supernatural. It's kind of hard to see here, but which way? The can's backwards. My son is literally named after Jensen Ackles, and I got a tattoo of it. So, diehard Supernatural fan here, and I choose Supernatural because it's just like 327 episodes. Do you want a few cartoon series and a couple of live action series and a dozen movies, or do you want a dozen or 11 Halloween movies, 12 Halloween movies, 13 if you include kills and ends, or do you want 327 episodes of a pretty rad TV series? I'm choosing Supernatural. What else do we got here? Last couple of minutes, guys. We won't have time to get to all the questions, so if you want to get yours read, feel free to send in a super chat before we go off air here. We will be back tomorrow. We are doing, because of that lovely discussion we got into last night, tomorrow we are going to do our top 10 masterpiece films. Obviously, it's our personal list. I'm going to be on the show. Johnny's going to be on the show. Kieran's going to be on the show. We'll see if Tommy B is going to be on the show. It's going to be fun. What else do we got here? Solid Saturn says, I'm predicting a poster will come out in April or May and a trailer in June or July. I don't think you're getting anything in April. And even May might be pushing it, man. I know that sounds negative, but yeah. Chad says it's going to be a really long 7 months. Chad, man, you got that beautiful family there. You got tons of time. Tons of things to do during that time. Don't sweat it. T. Parker Evans, who do you prefer? Thorn Trilogy, Michael, or Zombie Jason? I'm going to go Thorn Trilogy, even though I hate Halloween 5. Jade says, number 1, Spice World. If you think otherwise, you can all get bent. No, Jade. That's definitely not on the list. I definitely missed a few there. But yeah. Anyways, guys, ladies and gentlemen, some things to look forward to on the channel tomorrow night. We have the Fandom Empire live We're going to do our top 10 masterpiece films, followed by Fandom News Now with Zach. And then sometime in May, we're targeting May. I don't know if you guys will be able to see this image. I'm going to try to pull it up for you guys since I don't have it loaded on the computer to show you. But in May, we are planning an event, a watch-along event. See how close I can get this. This is what we're planning for May, people. The Campfire Horror Marathon. And while the movies are still not completely finalized yet, we are looking at doing the Mount Rushmore 4 all in one night. And they may not be the most popular movies of these franchises, just because we want to have some laughs with this too. But right now it looks like we're doing Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2003, Halloween Resurrection, and then Freddy vs. Jason all in one night. Probably start around 8, 9 o'clock and end like 2 in the morning. It'll be a lot of fun. It'll be outside, so it's going to be weather pending, which means it could get delayed whenever we do announce the date. It'll depend, but we're going to do it outside in front of a campfire. It's going to be a lot of fun. Can't wait to do that with all you. Might even like do something for charity if we can have a pretty big super chat showing for that night for the watch along. Maybe donate to a local humane society or some sort of cause, because there's not going to be a ton of money that comes in. But yeah. Solid Saturn says, I know The Shining will be on the list tomorrow. Not if it's Frank's list. I heard Frank doesn't like The Shining, apparently. So, but yeah, it's on my list. There's a little preview. The Shining is on my list. It's top 10 film all time for me. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it. Thank you for allowing me to come on here and vent and rant to all of you. Appreciate the super chat supports. Appreciate the chat support. And hopefully we can all just be decent human beings to one another and not try to blackmail people for leaked scripts and shit on people because they have a different Star Wars opinion than you do or anything of that sort, because it's just crap. And also I want to give a shout out to some people that you might want to listen to who are really just good dudes. Is the Slaughtered Lamb movie podcast with Frank Riker and Darren Sands. Not only are they two of the more fun guys I've ever spoken with, they're just really good people, and that's not easy to find anymore. So check them out. They're on Facebook, Spotify, Stitcher. I'm assuming they're Apple Podcasts, Carrier Pigeon maybe. You'd have to ask Frank. Maybe they got their shit at a local Blockbuster too. I don't know, but check those guys out. Check out the Rogue Sons of Star Wars podcast. I don't think they've done anything in a bit, but I'm sure they'll be back. And then Friday, you can join us for Across the Stars Star Wars pod. We're going to watch the making of the Phantom Menace. Let's have some positive Star Wars vibes and a fun night. But thanks for this, guys. We'll see you next time. Don't forget that guy back there. Back there. There we go. He's watching. Good night, everybody. Appreciate it, Dean. Appreciate it, Dean.